Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus, and welcome to this week's live Q&A. So big hello and welcome for joining me this week. So each and every week I answer questions from our YouTube channel members and Patreon members. They've been able to submit questions in advance. Also, the YouTube channel members are able to join in on the live chat and put in questions as well. So you can see we've got Miles, Caleb, we've also got our patrolling Keenan and Babak. So big hello and welcome to everyone joining in. You can also send in super chats as well with questions or to help, and all of which help support the channel and the website and everything. And it really does mean a huge amount. So a couple of quick things of some sort of housekeeping that I'm going to need to do. First off, I have gone down with a cold and a cough. So I have got tissues and I've got plenty of drinks. So I'm going to try and get through this. It might be a little bit quicker. If my throat starts going, I might have to cut it short in terms of if I can't talk very much. But I'm going to try and get through this. Been looking forward to doing this one for the last few days and kind of doing it. So yeah, I will say that's why there's not been as many videos this week. I did try doing a couple, and then when I was kind of doing the edit, I did realize just how bad my voice did sound on some of them. So hence why, like on the November video for everything that's coming to Disney Plus, I decided not even to film myself because 90% of it isn't anyway, and that was it. And also, last week I wasn't able to do a live stream. There was a family emergency. Unfortunately, my younger brother unexpectedly passed away. So I don't want to really get too much into it. It has been a really rough week. I've not really been in the best frame of mind for doing some stuff. I just wasn't in the mood to do the live stream last week. And yeah, it was unexpected, and it's been a really bad week, and yeah, so there's been a whole family issue, and like I said, I just was not in the mindset to do it. So between that and the cold and stuff, it's just been one of those weeks where there were some days where I just didn't really want to kind of sort of do the videos and stuff. I just wasn't in the mood for it, and I don't think there was a huge amount of news anyway, but I think so it's just been a real kind of shitty week. But nevertheless, I want to crack on. I want to answer your questions. I want to jump into it, and let's kind of just jump into it. Thank you, Keenan. Thank you so much for your support. So let's jump into some questions. So everyone that did put in their questions last week, I did try and reply to all of your questions as well. On just text, because to be honest, there was a lot of time just sitting around this week. Mahmoud says, when do you think Disney will debut the new UI and interface? So recently it was revealed that we're going to be getting this new version of Disney Plus. So you can see here we've got the For You tab, and then there's going to be a Disney Plus, and then there's a Hulu and ESPN tab at the top. And there was also a couple of videos that they put out as well, kind of showing how they flick between them, with new kind of logos at the top. We still got the hubs, etc. But kind of Hulu and ESPN are kind of being separated off into its own separate section. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks okay. We kind of got lists coming down the bottom because they're kind of, again, incorporating these 3 different hubs. Now, I'm imagining that we're going to see this roll out globally, because the ESPN hub and Hulu are now operating in many countries, in Australia, New Zealand, and Latin America. I suspect we're going to get the ESPN hub at some point here in the UK. I don't know when. But as you can see from this is going to be the new look version of Disney Plus with these 3 different hubs. And I think that's where everything's going to be separated out a little bit to kind of, depending on what bundle you have. Now, what was interesting about this was there was a press release went out, and it was on October the 2nd. And it says the power and the value of Hulu brand will reach worldwide audiences beginning October the 8th, when it becomes the global general entertainment brand and will replace Star internationally. Now, because of that date, what happened is a lot of people put 2 and 2 together and made 17, because it said underneath, with this change and in preparation for the fully integrated unified app experience next year, users will begin to see further integrations of Hulu across the Disney Plus as part of its ongoing initiative slate of product updates above the homepage and beyond. This includes other bits and pieces. So this is where we got it all. And it kind of said that it was an early look. And unfortunately, this kind of idea of it being an early look kind of got, as I said, got a little bit taken away of where everybody kind of in some way thought that this was all coming on the 8th, and therefore what happened was then everyone's kind of been delayed. I don't know when this is going to come in. I on one hand, like for me, thinking like November might be a good time because they want to get it in for the holiday season when viewing's at its highest. So that could be something. Or they might just wait until next year until they're actually fully merging it in together. Yeah, I think there's this kind of weird thing, as I said, for when do you think we're going to get it? They might start incorporating some of this stuff on its as we go along, but as I said, it does look a little bit like it's eventually going to kick in at some point. But yeah, I think also there is that problem as well, like this new system as well. Like those of us like in Europe and in many places in Asia, except in Africa and Middle East, we don't have the ESPN, so they've got to launch the ESPN side. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if they maybe hold off until spring. I mean, on one hand, if they've kind of shown us a little bit early, but I'm in two minds. Either November to kind of get as much people there watching it as possible, or they're going to wait until next year. Matt also says, when do you think we'll get the first updates on Disney Plus? I think we might start seeing things being added little bit by little bit in the coming months ahead. So it's a very, very kind of weird thing of when we're going to get them. Again, nothing has been official. It seems a bit weird. I think the way that Disney kind of announced this, like I said, it kind of got locked in with this Hulu stuff because it was almost like there wasn't enough news there in that Hulu announcement to justify a full article. And so they shoved all this in to kind of show that things are coming. But again, it confused people because people saw one date and went off in a different direction. So it's a very, very weird system. But let me know in the comments. Let me know when do you think it's going to arrive? I did do a poll. 55% of you think it's going to be winter 2025. So most of you think it's going to be this year. 30% think early next year. And that I think that pretty much covers nearly like 80% of it. That's quite a lot, isn't it? Bubba Trolling says, do you think Disney is the number 2 streaming because Amazon Prime isn't going to off people who subscribe to Prime Video and only Warner Brothers counts all their subscriptions to their DTC? I mean, without a doubt, Netflix is number 1. I think Amazon Prime is a little bit of a weird one because there are so many people that have Prime that don't use the video subscription service, or maybe even go into Prime and watch like a movie they've brought, and that'll get. I'm always a little bit doubtful of Prime subscriber numbers because of the shipping. But I'm also interested to know, like, how many of you still have an Amazon subscription? I know quite a few people, including myself, my parents, etc. We've all kind of slowly just dropped off Amazon because Amazon was getting more and more expensive. We're buying less and less. Let's see here. Warrior says, what do you think of the plot for the upcoming Marvel Vision Quest? What do you? Well, they haven't actually said what the plot is going to be. It looks like it's kind of Vision trying to get himself together. I think it's going to be a case really of just bringing him together so he's ready for a new Avengers or Champion series where he's going to lead it with a load of the kids. I say kids, they're all going to be much older than that. But that's what I'm expecting anyway. But let me know what you guys think. Bubba Trolling says, do you think that people at Warner Brothers Discovery have any plans or have the future in mind? I think their always plan has been make money. That's all there ever is. And so I think that's always been, I've always think that's been Zaslav's plan. It's always been to sell the company, make it a buttload of money and bugger off, basically. I think that's always been his plan. And I think that's why he's been separating the company so he can sell off the assets and stuff. But yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Keenan says, Prime isn't just about a video, it's about shipping and sometimes music. Yeah, it's I think that's the thing with Prime. I mean, I found that it's one of the things that actually makes me more appreciative of my YouTube premium subscription. Because I think like that is because I canceled my Spotify subscription to have YouTube. and because I could have YouTube Music, and that was how I was able to kind of justify having YouTube Premium, because then it was like, well, I'm actually saving £10 a month on Spotify, and therefore, you know, it's not so bad. And I've got to be honest, YouTube without ads is amazing. Again, big thank you to Jonathan, Miles, and Cecilia for your thoughts. Really appreciate that. Jonathan says, Dad wants me to be in Flubber 2. Your dad wants you to be in Flubber 2. I don't know if they'll make one. I don't think they'll do anything like that with Jonathan. Not with Jonathan, with what's his name? Robin Williams. Mara says, do you think Disney could catch a 5-minute extended preview of Pixar's next feature in front of Fire and Ash, particularly in premium formats? If I was to have a guess, I would imagine there's going to be a trailer for Hoppers dropping in front of Zootopia 2. I mean, they might put a trailer in front. I don't imagine they'll do a 5-minute trailer, because to me, Hoppers is a different audience to Avatar. I mean, I know they're both families, and they'll definitely want to put a trailer in front of it, but Avatar's going to pull in a different audience that I don't think. I would if I was to pick a movie, I would put it in front of Zootopia 2, because that's where the audience is going to be much more invested. Kayla says, I believe Disney Plus will update the UI when they're fully ready out of the beta. Yeah. Kayla also says, I do want to say that when Disney Plus promoted WWE Crown Jewel, that was weird seeing that on Twitter. The reception was much more positive compared to when it just had the ESPN logo. I think there was a little bit of confusion. I think there was a little bit of like, ooh, you can watch WWE on Disney Plus, that was a bit weird. I think there was always going to be a little bit of a hoopla over WrestlePalooza anyway and Crown Jewel because of people getting used to it. I think also with the ESPN thing, more people have kind of got used to the concept of what's going on there. I really did enjoy having Crown Jewel on, because it was one of the good things about having Crown Jewel in Australia was the fact that it was happening in the middle of the afternoon for me. So I could actually just watch it live. It was great. It's actually one of the things I really do like about having like the premium live events and Raws and SmackDown in like Australia and the Middle East and like Europe. I think that makes a really good thing of having that coming in. Kelly says, to follow up on last week's Q&A, you said that the UK has more land, hence why US and India are making business deals for the respective film industries. I don't know if that's about more land. I think it's more about the fact that there's a lot of empty space in terms of studios and locations, because there's less and less likely people been filming over here. I do wonder what's going to happen with the US with the tariffs and everything that's being possibly introduced. I don't know, and I don't know how that's all going to work out, and I don't think the studios really know that's all going to go out, because that could all be gone tomorrow, or it could be worse tomorrow, or it could be back on the table in a week. Who knows? It's just going to be a crazy 3.5 years. Continued. Miles says, could an introduction film appear before the preview? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a good idea. Thank you, Aaliyah. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think a introduction by a director or anyone really is going to move the needle on this. I know film buffs might like it, but in all honesty, I think the general audience couldn't give two hoots about some bloke standing there telling them about a movie. They want to just see it. And that's that. And I think a 90-second trailer for Hoppers will do much more impact than a 5-minute with an introduction. I just think that's too long. Babak says he hopes the Disney Plus update will be coming in the next few weeks because it needs an update. I mean, it does look a lot better. Bubba Trolling thinks it's going to come in the next few weeks. Jonathan says, when do you think we'll hear about Reasonable Doubt Season 3 and English Teacher? I hope you feel better soon. I hope I feel better soon too. I do feel a lot better than I did a few days ago. I was so... Have we not got it? I thought we had it. I thought we had Season 3. Because it's being released at the minute, weekly, isn't it? Have we not got it here? I'm not going to lie. I didn't bother watching... I didn't bother watching the last season. I don't think I even finished season 1. I kind of, quite a few shows now I just kind of dropped off of. No, yeah, we haven't got season 3. I would imagine, my gut would be that what's probably going to happen is they'll wait until the whole season can drop at once, and we'll probably get it with the finale or just after it. Matt says, when do you think live will be integrated with Tubi? I don't think Disney will. I don't think Disney Plus will integrate with Tubi. I think you're more likely going to see Fox One integrate with Tubi. I don't think that. As far as live, I think I think until that Fubo Hulu Live Fubo deal goes through, I don't think we're going to see anything like that happening. Thank you, Matt, so much for your super chat. Really appreciate the support. What can Disney Plus do to make it to find Disney Plus and TV shows? Make it easier to find. I think the For You page is really going to help with having some more algorithm kind of picking out what you like and what you don't like, because I'm hoping that with it's a bit like with YouTube and Netflix, where it goes off of your viewing habits and will much more likely show you what you might be interested in. And I think that's going to have a much better chance of getting you to watch something, because it's like me, if I fire up Disney Plus and it's showing me, I don't know, let's say Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Plus and Hocus Pocus 2 or something like that. I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch that, or I've already watched it. But it's like, okay, well, you started watching 1,000 Blows, but you haven't finished it yet. So let's just keep putting that in front of you. But yeah, I think it would make sense to do just to kind of have more of a front page, and also maybe as well using the social media side of things. Jonathan asks, will there be 101 Dalmatians free? Probably not. I think if we're going to see anything, it would be a Cruella 2 rather than 103 Dalmatians. The fact that we haven't got one, and what's it been, 15, 20 years since 102 Dalmatians? Ricardo says, even though the Hulu expansion internationally is something positive, in the US, the Hulu Hub is only showing their original productions in English. Yeah, well, again, I think the trouble is, until the entire system is global, I think that's the problem. And I think because they've got that separation still, I think we're just going to have this bumpiness until it's done. And then it's all just one major system where they can upload it to everything. Now that the new shows coming in are all Hulu, it probably will be a lot easier for them, but I'm still expecting some bumps in the road until we get full integration. Mara says some candidates for UK Irish release include Richard Hammond, Louis Theroux, Vicky Butler Henderson, James May, and Claudia Winkleman. Does Disney really do that anymore? I think they've kind of been slow. They don't seem to do as many of them as anymore. Keen says, I have a Spotify subscription. I subscribe to YouTube, to Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music on and off. But I've never subscribed to YouTube Music. Why do you have all three? Is there any reason to have all three? Seems a bit. You could save yourself $20 there. You need one or the other. Matt says, what do you think of the punishment special? I'm guessing you mean Punisher. Looking forward to it. I like the Punisher. I think that'll be good. Barbara Troy says, what are your thoughts on CNN All Access and how likely is it to fail? It's going to fail. I don't think there's enough interest in paying for that kind of news. I think, again, this feels very much like this is what I think is going to happen. And this is the plan. Should Warner Brothers not be sold, because if it does get sold, then they don't have to worry about it. They can cut off. I think the plan is they want to do like a Disney Plus or Disney bundle where they have a Warner Brothers bundle where you get HBO Max, TNT Sports, Discovery Plus, and CNN Plus, and maybe even Cartoon Network Plus, all in a big bundle of 4 or 5 services, so that they can basically sell a bundle to less people unsubscribe, rather than putting it all into one, but going down the idea of having a bundle to make it look like you're getting a good deal. That's my theory on them. Matt says, any news on Sister Act 3? All I keep hearing about is Whoopi Goldberg usually saying something on The View, kind of along the lines of, it's still happening. I still want to make it. I still want to do it. I don't think it's happening. I think it's dead in the water. Let's see what else we've got. Ricardo says on Disney Plus Japan, the Star Hub still exists, but the original shows and movies doesn't have the Star logo. It could be just their plan to regain Hulu there. Well, I mean, I think there's two words looking at it. They can do it one of two things. They can either buy Hulu in Japan, because in Japan, Hulu is owned by, I think, Nikon TV, aka Japan TV, and that was about 10, 15 years ago. Had nothing to do with Disney. They don't own it. They do have a partnership where they team up. Disney might want to buy it, but it depends if Nippon TV wants to sell it. That's the other problem. So maybe that'll be something that comes along later. Alternatively, just don't use the Hulu logo. The Star logo, they might still be able to use it. They might still also be able to, because they still own it. They still have the, as part of the Reliance Network own it, which Disney own a chunk of it. So they could have licensed it or keep going on it. So, or they might just, like you say, just slowly fade out so it doesn't get used that much. Ricardo says this week on Latina American Star Channel, they created a new block called Hulu Hour, where they plan to create Hulu original or air certain Hulu originals. It's cool that they want to give some life to the channel. I mean, that'll be funny. It makes total sense to me. You're gonna use that Hulu logo and you use that Hulu branding to start getting people in. If they want to use Hulu, they've got to start promoting it. And it probably would make it easier for them then to change the name to Hulu TV at some point if those channels continue. Does make sense. Jonathan says, will they voice Acme in Blue Movie? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sassoon says, what will Disney Plus look like in 2026? It will look like this. This will be how it will look. This is going to be the new look version of Disney Plus. So you got the three different hubs at the top plus the 4U, and that's how the new Disney Plus is going to look. I think it looks rather smart. Matt says, when Hulu fully merged, will we get more international shows? I don't think you get any more. I think what you get is what you get. I think what we're already seeing is all the international Disney Plus originals are now going to be branded Hulu originals, and bing bada boom, everyone gets them. So I don't think you're going to get any more. I think we're going to see more of what they've been doing here in the UK and other countries, where they just license a large chunk of movies and shows just to fill out the back order and allow them to comply with rules. And they're only going to create original content in areas where it makes sense financially, and also where they think maybe they can get an international audience. That's why I think like anime is popular globally. They can use that. Korean dramas are popular. European stuff, I mean, obviously, if you create something in Spain, it is also something that they can use in Latin America, say for Portugal. German and Danish might be a bit harder to do. British stuff, obviously, is much easier for them to do because that then can be used everywhere. Some other questions here. Matt says Secret Wars was supposed to be the only Marvel movie in 2027. What do you think of that? I think that's a good news. I definitely think that's going to be a good thing. I think personally, I think Marvel needs to go on a bit of a real stream down. Personally, if I was Bob right now, Mr. Iger, I'd be saying to Kevin, going, right, let's get out Vision Quest, and we put that out in 2027. We get out Secret Wars in 2027 as well. And we maybe carry on with I don't know, the Champions idea. But I actually would be along the lines of, let's actually give Marvel a little bit of a break. Let's give it a year off, maybe even give it 2 years off. Maybe even just do 2-3 years without a movie, do a couple of maybe Daredevil or Champion series to tide us over. But I would say give it a rest. I think they've really got to cut it back. Or if they are going to do a Marvel movie, they can only do ensemble movies. So you have to do kind of multiple heroes. Yeah, I think they need a break. Man says, what do you think of Disney and Bob Iger should do next year when picking up the next CEO to avoid the disaster of what happened with the Bob Chapek tenure? So, if I was Bob again, my thing would be I would bring Dana and Josh D'Amaro in as co-CEOs. Dana gets the entertainment side. He gets the theme parks and the product lines. They both work together. They both have a very split line of what they do. Iger stays in place for 5 years as the chairman to gently allow them space to do what they need to. He needs to give them a little bit of rope to be able to do what they need to do. But I think co-CEOs, let them both be the specialists in what they do. She knows entertainment. He knows theme parks, etc. Do that. Have co-CEOs, have him stay on as a chairman and kind of allow them. And I would also probably say that they are going to need to be a bit more, I would almost say, like, not make any major changes. They might be very cautious to do anything. That'd be my guess. Actually, let's have a look. Let's do that. Let's do that as a poll, shall we? Start a poll. Who do you think will be the next CEO? Dana, Josh, both. Iger ain't going. Because I can see Iger staying on a bit longer, but I still think Iger's going to stay around as a chairman. But I think he might also have learned that he's going to have to. They might want him around to be a little bit more better. Keenan says the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is going to be live on November the 8th, coinciding with my birthday. Well, happy birthday for them. How long will the live stream take? I'm guessing 3-4 hours. They're probably not going to be this because it can be live streamed and it's not on television because they're putting that out on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day on ABC edited. They probably can go quite long, so it might be 4 hours. Mo says, what do you think of Jimmy Kimmel endorsing Dana Walden to become the next CEO of Disney when Bob Iger returns next year? I mean, it makes total sense why he would say that because she's his boss. And it would make sense that after everything that just happened with him, and she maybe went to bat for him, that he throws her support behind him. It would make I wouldn't be. That just makes total sense to me why he would say that. Alexander, thank you so much for your super chat. Really do appreciate that. What are your thoughts on the overall new Disney Plus UI? I think it looks nice. I think this 3-tab option or 4-tab option with 4U, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN allows Disney Plus to become this new era where those 5 core hubs of Disney Plus, like the Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, etc., isn't really the same thing anymore. So it makes sense. And I think having Hulu separate and having ESPN separate kind of allows people then maybe if you're just interested in the Disney Plus side, you can go into that tab. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. But what do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts. Matt also says, what project could you see Wonder Man in the future? I mean, I think it depends on how well he does. He could be a one and done. But I wouldn't be surprised if he turned up in a Champions series. Ricardo says, I noticed that Hulu in the rest of the world only has the official Instagram and X accounts for Latin America and Brazil. For the rest of the world, they only post Disney Plus access, it seems. Yeah, they didn't they didn't really seem to do anything for the international launch. And I am, as you just said there, Star still exists in Latin America for the Star channels. So maybe they could turn Hulu international. I think, obviously, in Latin America as well, you had all the social media accounts set up for Star Plus, which then became Star, which now has become Hulu. Whereas, like here in the UK, we didn't have a Star social media account, so we didn't really need that. Whereas I think Latin America, they're just kind of using the fact that they've got a big following of people on those social media accounts to kind of make sense to utilize that. Aaliyah says, do you agree with Baloney Puck that Netflix won the streaming wars? Yes. And if so, it's not an issue that Disney is striving to be number 2 or number 3. Of course, it's an issue for the anti-Disney people. Well, let's break that down, shall we? So first off, Netflix is number 1. It is number one, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And I think the reason for that as well is the other studios and companies are also got other businesses. So it's not necessarily in Disney's interest to be all in on streaming while they still have a theatrical and movie, and they also have the TV business. They've got different businesses, so it doesn't really make sense for them to go all in like Netflix did. They haven't got anything else. I think being number 2 or number 3, nothing wrong with that. I think they'll obviously want to be number 1, and that's what they'll strive to be. But we want there to be multiples. We need there to be a Disney, a Netflix, and Amazon, and Apple, and a Comcast, because they all then make each other more compatible and more comparable. So I think that's a good thing. As far as the anti-Disney people, the trouble is with the anti-Disney people is a lot of it as well is engagement bait and making money. And I think once you start, I think for me, once I kind of saw through that, with some channels kind of churning out 3 videos a day with everything negative. And it was like, why are you putting out 3 videos a day hating on this company? Because they make money from it. And there's anti-Disney. I do think like there was that whole thing as well of we have seen a massive cultural shift over the last 2 years. And yeah, I think it does it makes, we are seeing a cultural shift coming back in now. So some of that is you got some people gloating, you got other people that are kind of I can see with some places where they've had to jump into other companies and other things that are going on because Disney isn't giving them enough kind of ammunition to keep firing out 3 videos a day to keep enough of that hatred running, because they're running out of stories because Disney isn't hitting as many own goals as it used to. And sometimes it feels a little bit like you're making the kind of so Tron's a flop. Tron 3's a flop. Okay, it's a flop. Yeah, it deserves. I have got no problem with channels and articles talking about it being a flop, and that's fine. But if you do 15 videos on it being a flop, why? That's the way I look at it. So I do have, and I would very much be along the lines, if someone is constantly criticizing something, why are they kind of in it? And then you see this across all different kinds of channels that I see. I see it a lot in the Warhammer community. Would see it a lot in like the trading card video games. And you get to a certain point of like, well, if they hate what they are, if they don't like it anymore, there's one thing being critical and pointing out the things that they hate about it and what they don't like. I have no problem with that at all. And I do kind of like some of it. But if all you're doing is complaining, then maybe it's time to leave it. It's like I saw some people like, I'm a stockholder, and I was like, well, if you hate the company and you don't agree with what it's doing, sell your stock and go and buy stock in some other company. I don't know. That's just me. I get like I can completely understand. If you don't like something that they're doing, complain about it, because I complain about stuff all the time. But at the same time, if I don't like a movie or I don't like a show, I don't watch it anymore. That's kind of it, really. Ricardo says it also depends on how much popular Japan or Hulu on Japan is considered investing a huge sum of money to get it. It's some of social media, and they have the rights to Universal. Yeah, it might. I mean, that might be the thing as well with it. Keenan says the reason why Netflix has always been number 1 is because Netflix is basically the first streaming service. They are the first, but also, just as important, that is their business model. That is what they do. Netflix is a streaming company in the same way that McDonald's makes burgers. Disney put movies out in cinemas. They have linear channels. They have theme parks. They have cruise lines. They have merchandise. They have video games. They have all kinds of stuff. And Netflix doesn't do all that. So it makes sense why the big companies like Comcast, etc., like they're not really been fully willing to jump in while they were still making some money somewhere else. Elias says, not Iger's call. The board is now in charge of all that, and he's not even the chairman of the board anymore at the moment. I think he's going to be put on that board, and I wouldn't be too surprised if he becomes chairman when it comes in. Why co-CEOs when Disney hasn't done that in the past, and the new CEOs come up to seed, even if it's not being veterans of other areas like Eisner, Iger, maybe CEO and president. I think the thing is, I think they're very much aware of there was a problem last time, and the two people that are coming up know their businesses really well and are really good at it. And other companies have been doing this co-CEO stuff as well. Eisner had, I think it was Frank Wells, that was his like cohort. Obviously, Walt had Roy. Sometimes they need that second person to kind of rein them in a little bit. Babatron says, do you think Disney will make more kids' content using the Hulu original? No. Hulu is not for the kids. That's kind of I think that's the key thing. Ricardo says, I think there are 4 spots on 2028 for Marvel with spots for other movies. I think Marvel will release X-Men and maybe another film that year. The other dates will be for... Yeah, I don't think they're going to do 4 movies. Don't think that's going to happen at all. Ken says, what are your thoughts on Apple TV dropping the Plus from the streaming service? Might as well. I never call it Apple TV Plus. I always just call it Apple TV. So, yeah, I think it makes sense. And also watch Slow Horses. That's really good. Matt says, what do you think? Disney Plus will add more collections? I wouldn't expect much now, but until we see the full merger together. Miles, can you just pop that question in again about the celebrities? I think I must have missed that one. Mammoth says, according to CNBC, Disney has considered as co-CEO with Walden and DeMario like Netflix and Comcast. What do you think of the report, and what would be the positives and negatives of this? I think the positives are you've got they have their expertise in their divisions and in what they're doing. It would allow them to not interfere with each other as much. I mean, there could be that kind of thing at the theme park. People go, look, we need good movies to be able to sell stuff at the parks. You know, they are interconnected in that way. Entertainment feeds the parks. But I also think it would allow them a little bit of time to have a bit more of a less bumpy road where, you know, you've got the entertainment division being done by one side and the theme park. And also it allows both of those people more control because they don't maybe need to check with the other one. You know, Josh can go, well, I will open up a theme park in, you know, India. And Dana can kind of go, well, yeah, that's your division. And then she can go, well, I'm making a new TV series. She doesn't have to ask his permission. I think a co-CEO system will allow them some balances and some control factors and stuff. I think the trouble is you don't necessarily want. I think we saw with Chapek someone coming in making too many big drastic changes. I don't think Disney needs that. It says Tron Ares will definitely be the last Tron film due to contributing factors, including actors getting overbombed at the box office and a big gap between the sequels. Yeah, I don't see that one's coming back. I mean, I want to watch Tron 3. I really do. Not gonna lie, decided not to go cinema, and I'm not probably gonna go. I'll probably wait now for digital. Miles says, what do you think of the Walt Disney Studios newly established first look deal with Catherine Rudson's production company Impossible Films would create a new creative opportunities for Disney? I think it's great. I think it's fantastic for Disney to start looking at other franchises, other books, and coming up with something new. I think they often have a tendency to drain what they've got to death, and I don't think they do enough to do new stuff. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to take advantage. I think that's what they need to do more of. I think they've been a little bit scared of something new. I think they need to be much more bold. And I think taking very good books and turning them into new franchises is 100%. Sorry, Keenan, did I call you Baba? I do apologize. Basil says, how well did Disney at the box office this year? Any predictions on the remaining theatricals this year and early thoughts on 2026? In terms of this year, I definitely think Zootopia 2 and Avatar 3 will be the big movies. Whether or not I think Avatar will be out, Lilo and Stitch. I'm not sure about Zootopia 2. Basil says, should Disney have held off developing any live action remakes longer instead of starting the development on Tangled again? 100%. I don't really think that it was a good idea for them to do Tangled. I think they should just leave that alone. I think they definitely should hold off on that on there. I don't think they should do it. Caleb says, according to reports from CNBC, Disney is considering the co-CEO post Iger. What do you think this is? CNBC doesn't think so. Again, the trouble is for me with CNBC is, and I watch quite a bit of it whenever they do videos and stuff, they are owned by Comcast. They are direct competitors. It doesn't necessarily sometimes sit well with me that of like what they say. Some of the presenters on CNBC, there's that older guy. He doesn't seem to have a clue what new business is doing. Every time he talks, I always think like he sounds like an idiot. There's a few on there which I do kind of think you guys don't know. It's like you're going off of what used to be, and you've just managed to keep your job because you've had it for so long, kind of thing. But Bowser says, what lessons does Disney need to learn from Lilo and Stitch in order to make a Tangled and any upcoming remake work? First off, keep close to the original. Keep it simple. Keep it straight. Keep it as original to that story as they can, both visually and as a story. Don't do stuff just to change. I think fundamentally Little Mermaid suffered because of the casting choice, and it's unfortunate because she was awesome in it. I thought she was fantastic, but I have no doubt that that casting choice cost that movie hundreds of millions of dollars, mainly internationally. The international audience really rejected that movie. The US was much more positive towards it. I definitely think like that was a problem for it, and I think they've got to keep it as simple and keep it as close to the original. And also, they've got to give it some time. I think that's the trouble. Kelly says, how do you feel about Disney utilizing the Halloween branding for Disney Plus, pivoting Hello Stream to one of the live streams? I think it makes sense. Hello Stream doesn't really make a lot of sense. Halloween is a lot more fun, and it's very branding. If you say Halloween, it's Hulu. I think that works best. And Hello Stream doesn't. Anyone could do that. So I think Halloween is a better branding thing for that one. Miles says, considering the recent box office underperformance of Tron Ares, do you think that Alan Bergman will continue as a chairman of Walt Disney Studios by the end of the year? Or what he said there? I don't think having one bad movie is enough to get rid of someone. They took a punt on it and it ain't worked. I just don't think they're going to do another Tron, and I don't think they're going to use Jared Leto. Keenan said, according to the World of Disney page on Facebook and MovieWeb, another photorealistic Lion King film may be in development. Do you think we need another Lion King film? So, two things. First off, are they going to make another Lion King film? Maybe. The last one did do well. I love some of the music in it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. However, and I think I mentioned this to you before, I did go and look at this World of Disney page that you mentioned, and there was a lot of stuff on there that was just, as I might say, BS. A load of made up stuff to get engagement, to make money, in the same way that I was talking about the YouTube of them talking. There was posts about people being entangled just merely to get engagement, because get rage bait, to get more people to click on it, to make more money. And this is something that you really need to be careful of. And I'd say this to everyone. You have to be very, very cautious now with anything you see on social media. Videos especially, it's been awful with the new Sora 2 update this past week. You have to treat everything online as fake or unreal until proven otherwise. Just a Facebook page that could be made up by some random bloke somewhere, just saying, it'd be a bit like me. If I just chucked out on my Facebook page, I don't know, what can I say? I don't know, Pinocchio 2 is in production. Or I know She-Hulk I got a second season, or they're going to make Lightyear 2. I'm literally looking at this Disney Plus Day poster I've got next to me to pick them out. So I can come out and I say this now, because I have a big enough following on social media that is going to get picked up and exploded out. And if you say enough true things, some things can sneak through. And unfortunately, with the way that Facebook works, is you make if you get a big page and you get lots of engagement, you get paid for it. So again, you've got to start becoming very cynical, very aware of the fact that the internet now is no longer, and it hasn't been for a while, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. And unless it comes from an official source, you do have to treat it with a pinch of salt. Now, I only report on stuff that has come from verified places or official. I could have gone down the line of making up a load of BS and to make more money. And to be honest, I would have made more money by doing that. But that's I can't do that. It's not in me. It's like the videos I do. I'm not going to make a video and it's like when people would make a trailer for Frozen 3 and it's just all AI slop. The thing is with these Facebook pages and stuff, and especially in Twitter, etc., they're all doing this stuff just to get money. Now, whether or not there is a new Lion King movie in development, probably. But if you say enough, if I could sit there and go through all of Disney franchises, and if I say to you, there's a new Toy Story in development, there's a new Venom movie in development, there's a new Lilo and Stitch project in development, eventually I'm going to hit on something which is actually going to be true, because it's likely, because of the way that Disney is in the past. But yeah, there's a lot of clickbait, a lot of fake stuff around there, so just be very careful. Yeah, just be very careful with stuff. Right, so I'm going to be on the live chat, so I'm going to carry on for about another 10-15 minutes because I can feel my throat starting to dry up. Candace says, I think it makes sense for Apple TV to drop the plus, since Apple TV predates the streaming service. Disney Plus is going to keep the Disney Plus logo since more streaming due to part. I think the Disney Plus thing makes sense for them, and they've they've utilized it. I think it was all the other places that kind of you put the plus in front of everything. I mean, like Warhammer Plus and PlayStation Plus and Discovery Plus and all these kind of it came a bit really kind of crappy with that. Matt says, what do you think of Madam Web coming to Disney Plus in the US next month? Good. People can watch it. I'm not gonna lie, when that thing drops onto Netflix, I will give that a whirl. I still haven't seen it. I'll give it a whirl. Let's just see here. So actually, this one's a good one. Billy, you see online now that all these AI posters, is AI becoming a problem? It's becoming a massive problem. So let's just say, for example, so I'm now going to be, so create a new film poster in a Pixar style for a new movie starring a character called Roger and his pet horse. Okay, so I'm just doing here to prove kind of a point here. So here we go. So I have now, and this is how easy it is to do this, because in just a matter of seconds, I have been able to create this masterpiece. Come on then, StreamYard. Give me, here we go. So look at this amazing new movie that's coming soon. Roger and his pet horse. So see how easy that is, how easy AI can just create something which looks plausible enough that some people might believe it. Because I did something like this once, and when it came out a couple of years, I put up one and it was like, I can't believe Disney are making a movie about me and my dog, and some of my family believed it. So this is how easy AI posters can become I see here Pixar. I mean, look at that. I mean, you literally saw how easy that was to create a poster that can be shared on social media, and yeah, the high flying adventure with a friendship that knows about. And again, I just literally gave it like the most basic, simple thing. So you have to be really, really aware now that things can be, if it, there's just so much stuff. Okay, I just love the fact of sorry, it's making me redo. Let's do another one. So Keenan says, I've seen videos of college students using AI, which is, yeah, you get a lot of college people using AI. Now, AI does have some benefits. There are, and I will say I do sometimes use Gemini, mainly sometimes for formatting of like reformatting some HTML, but it's nothing creative. Every time I did use it a few times for some thumbnails, and they usually would get a lot of people. But apparently, I mean, there's like this new Sora app. I mean, there's been loads of stuff. See, like here we go. Here's Roger and his pet horse number 2. So, but yeah, it is a major problem. This time it's different. He's got a horse inside of a some kind of entrap. So you can see how easy it is just to create absolute. And I mean, I could literally say here now, create a new Disney style poster for, let's say, I don't know, Lightyear 2. Disney Pixar. And this is how easy it is to do it. So in case of like you're asking like where should I look? First off, follow the official websites, follow the official things. See, and here we are. Just this is how easy it is to literally create something and pop up onto social media. So here we have Lightyear 2, the adventure continues, summer 2026. That was how easy. That's how easy it is for this stuff to be made and become bullshit. Now, does that not look like some people would be fooled by that? And that is the problem with AI and how it's being used to confuse people. And more importantly, if I chuck that up now on the Facebook page for what's on Disney Plus, people are going to believe me. That's why I have to be extremely careful with where I see stuff. So in terms of where do I get the information, obviously official things come through. I get official press releases. There are certain trades like Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, the Wrap, etc., that I do trust, and they have a long history. But I'm not gonna just because Marvel Fans 62 on Twitter says it is, doesn't necessarily show. I have to see the evidence. So it's definitely a problem that needs to be dealt with. But so there we go. Lightyear number 2. Actually, I want to do another one. So create a poster for a second season of Marvel's She-Hulk series. And this is like I said, this is how easy. Since you swear on the live Q&As, would you ever use the F word? I do. I just don't tend to do it in terms of actually this one's not so good, but again, it does show you the power of how bad AI can be. This is just Gemini, Aaliyah. This is just Gemini. So here we go. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Season 2, coming to Disney Plus. See how easy I created that. And this is why, as Billy says, there should be some restrictions in terms of UI to prevent it replacing jobs, for example, in the acting industry. I think there's going to be a case of some stuff needs to be, actually incorporated on it. Now, I think with these ones, they do actually put there is a little symbol. Don't know if we can see it. Yeah, there's a little Gemini symbol down here, but it's very easy to edit that out. But it just shows you how quickly you could do it. It's a little video's a lot harder to do, but and I don't know if Gemini can do that in the same way. But create it's a video of the Disney Plus logo being rebranded to, I don't know, what can we say? Donut Plus. Just kind of have a note. Will you read my questions? I will have a look, see what I've missed. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there with AI stuff. I can see why Disney is suing them. That Lightyear one is close to copyright. Yeah, and that is it. You can see, I mean, that is really close, isn't it? How close that is of how that can happen. Matt says, what do you think Sony needs to be able to do to make better Marvel movies? Sell it back to Marvel. That's it. Bubba Trolling says, what are your thoughts on Apple TV getting the F1 and how will cable networks without sports, without the streaming surf do one? I think we are starting to see, you're going to start seeing how the streaming services are all going to start picking up live sports and you're going to start seeing stuff all over the place. This is why I think sorry, my throat's gone a bit dry. This is why I think like ESPN will eventually just get merged into Disney Plus because they're going to lose more and more sports. And if Netflix and Amazon and Apple and Peacock are all giving away free sports with their packages, Disney is going to have to follow soon. Matt says they should definitely do more live concerts. The key thing is whether or not people want to see them. I mean, I was trying to get tickets to was it Luke Combs this week? That was impossible to do. Barbara Joyce says I don't go on Reddit anymore because it mostly feels like AI. There's a lot of that on there. I only go literally, I think, like Warhammer, Disney Plus, and Norcana. I think that's about as much as I do. Keenan says, I think if Disney decides to do a live-action Tango, they should wait till 2030s. Well, I mean, if they start now, they're probably going to be looking at 2028, 2029 anyway. Aaliyah says, what are your thoughts on the theories of why Tron Ares is not doing so well? I think it's a combination of, I think the Tron series isn't one that pulls people in. I think Jared Leto is not interesting to some people. I think the Tron franchise just doesn't connect. And I think people I think the cost of going cinema and the comfort of watching movies at home is just better. And I think unless it feels like an event movie, people don't go to the cinema. Me and my wife, we watched Freaky Friday this afternoon at home. Nice, easygoing movie. But I wouldn't have gone to cinema to see it. Kev says I'd actually be surprised if Disney does a theme park in India since the land and budgets make it a long shot. I think the problem with doing it in India would be how much they make per ticket, because obviously how much they'd have to sell the tickets for there to make it financially viable to go. I think the one being built in Abu Dhabi might appeal in order for some people to go there. Yeah, I think that's the problem for India. And also there's a trouble as well of like how many places can they put the theme parks? I mean, I'm not like me and my wife, we were looking, we had been looking at some trips and we've been looking at a couple in like India to experience something completely different. And that's that kind of thing of, I just don't think it would make sense there in terms of financially. Let's see if we've got any other ones here. I'm just going to miles. Here we go. Given Pixar's tradition of tailoring regional releases with local celebrity cameos, who do you think in the UK will appear in Hoppers when it releases in 2026? I'm just not sure they're going to do that as much. I also don't think that appeals. I think with streaming releases and the cost of it, I think we're going to see a lot less of that. It doesn't feel like the days of when we had like Jeremy Clarkson in Cars. I just don't think we get as much of that. Zootopia kind of they kind of had a little bit of fun with it because like each of the local news stations had a different animal. I think it was like in Canada they had a moose and in China they had a panda. And I like that element of it, but I'm just not sure with Hoppers if they're going to do that. Matt says, do you think Disney will bring back the Decades collection? I just don't think so. Matt says, should Disney do more live concerts on Disney Plus? I would like them to. Yeah, Gemini can't do video outputs. Let's see what else we've got. Leah says, I'm at the point now where I won't see a film unless it's an event, Avengers, cinema score A+, or it's earned billions more. Rude film goers in time invested makes it unhappy. I'm not going to lie, I couldn't give two hoots about cinema score or Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. I will be totally fair with you. I don't give two hoots. um, as far as I'm concerned, if I see a trailer and I want to see the movie, that's what makes my mind up. I don't care what happens with, if everyone says this is the best movie of all time. Usually at that I will probably watch it and think it's a load of rubbish. It usually happens around the time of the Oscars, when they're like, this movie is fantastic, it's a must watch, it's the best film of the year, and I find it dull. Poor Things last year, from, was it best movie? Oh my, I didn't even get like 20 minutes into it. I turned it off because it was rubbish, absolute rubbish. So that is it. In terms of rude film goers, I will admit I have got used to, if I'm going to watch, like when I go to watch Avatar, I will go watch it at like 9-10 o'clock in the morning when the kids are at school, and I would not dream of going to the cinema on a Friday or a Saturday night. No chance, absolutely no chance I would do it, because not necessary, but yeah, rude people making noise, I don't like it. In fairness, if I could just have the cinema on my own, perfect. You never know if that happens. Jared Leto might turn up if I go see Tron. Did you see this? It was all over social media. He turned up at the cinema for a screening, and there was nobody there. There was hardly anyone. It was awful. Miles says, "What's your opinion on Volkswagen partnership earning with Zootopia Test? When will the Volkswagen vehicles?" I think I have got to the point where, like, these promotional things, I think I become a bit blind to them, because it's just tacky. It's just absolute. Have you ever thought to yourself, I am going to go buy a brand new car because they did a connection with Fantastic Four? No. Are you going to go buy a car because they give you a free poster for the new movie? Are you going to go buy a brand new Volkswagen because no, I just don't get it. I mean, there's one thing going and buying, a McDonald's Happy Meal and you get a Zootopia 2 toy with it, or you buy a breakfast cereal or something in a few quid, or you buy, I mean, I liked it like last year with Moana 2. You went, I liked to see them do something like that with Zootopia 2. You go see Zootopia 2, you get a free Locana card. I'm down with that, but I ain't gonna go buy a new car just to get one. Yeah, so that's my thought on that one. Miles says, what your take on Hopper's earning positive test screenings, and what do you think will drum up excitement for this film? I don't think, in all honesty, positive test screenings will make two hoots of difference. Ultimately, it's going to come down to Disney's marketing. They're going to have to market the crap out of it. They're going to have to get it out everywhere. It's going to have to look funny. It's going to have to look entertaining. And also, it has to be really good. If it is good, and it doesn't have any, and it can't have any negative, if there's any sniff of anything negative, that's just going to lose it. So I don't know if the environmental line might make this a bit difficult. That might make it tricky. Because there is some people that don't believe in looking after the planet. Kenny says, I wanted to go see Lilo and Stitch in cinemas, but didn't have the money to do so. Yeah, that's definitely it. And obviously every cinema's different prices. Miles says, what do you think the Weinstein brothers' refusal to listen to Disney advice on running Miramax film would lead from their splits from the House Mouse? I think but there's also, I don't think that's necessarily, I think that's more about the fact of Disney. If you are Disney and you have this studio and these people running it and they will not do what you tell them to do, you've got two options. You sell the company they work for, you fire them. Those are your two options. If they won't play by the, eventually at some point, I think that goes into everything really. Barbara Tron says, what will happen to the ESPN app if ESPN is included in Disney Plus? Well, I think the ESPN app can remain separate because you're going to have all the news, the gambling, all that lot in there as well. Right, I think that's a good point. We've just reached the end of the questions. I definitely feel like an hour of talking, my chest and my throat is now starting to get to that point. So again, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for your support. Thank you so much for understanding what's happened. A big thank you to Miles and also Alexander for the super chats. I really do appreciate that. Plan is to continue doing live streams, so that'll be it each Sunday, unless I mean, literally last week was just something I just wasn't like, and I think anyone would understand that. I'm hoping to be better. I don't feel quite as congested in terms of so I'm hoping to do some videos, but there might be a few bit in here, and if there's not a big enough bit of news or I don't think it sounds good, I might only do it for big news. But on that note, guys, thank you so much for your support, and I shall see you guys next week. Later. Tally ho.